And the one was this Los Feliz house. It was a death investigation. Monday morning, one of the Los Feliz mini mansions up there, this gentleman had a housekeeper, a housemate, would leave on Friday, come back on Monday and care for him. He was an elderly gentleman. So when he came back, he found him deceased in the bedroom.
The old man?
The old man was deceased. And so we went up. It's one of these beautiful places. As you go in, the stairwell's up there, and then there's a little balcony from one room to the next room.
Right.
So we went up there and looked in the bedroom, and sure enough, there's the gentleman. And he's off his bed, kind of in a bent-over position. I mean, obviously he's dead because he's in his pajamas, and there's a trail of ants, which is normal. And he's got purge coming out of his mouth. So obviously he is dead. And we searched the house, the other rooms, to make sure that there are no other people in there. So we tell the gentleman that his caregiver that we'll be here till the detectives show up. And we says, okay. So you can leave, and if you want to come back in a few hours, we'll be here. So Lynn and I go downstairs. At the base of the stairs is a phone, and Lynn's going to call detective headquarters and request a K car. It would come out. They call them K cars. So Lynn's on like this on the phone, and we're both there, and we're looking around, and we look up at the balcony, and we see that gentleman go from the dead bedroom where he was across to the other room.
Wow.
And we it was one of those things where you look at it, but he's not walking. It's like he's gliding into the other room like that. And then I look at Lynn, and Lynn looked at me and says, "Did you see what I saw?" And I said, "What did you see?" He says, "That guy's dead, right?" I said, "Well, he's pretty dead, Lynn." And he says, so after he got done with the phone, he goes, "Let's wait in the car." So when the detective got there, we went upstairs and rechecked that room. And sure enough, his body's in the same position. Rooms are in the same position. Everything was clean. We didn't tell the detective. Right, we just left.
Right. It's not going to help him solve whatever happened.
No, he had obviously something happened with natural causes. But,
so they ruled that one natural causes?
Yeah, I'm sure he probably had a heart attack, something like that, based on the position that he was in, and yeah.
Wow.
There was no, but that was weird. That was the first time I saw. Lynn and I had that. We talked about it over time. We had talked about that. And
That's
said,
great.
"Yep, that really did happen." When he passed away, I relayed that story to his wife over the phone. I relayed that story to Lynn's wife over the phone. It was,
wow.
Yeah. Working southeast, morning watch, graveyard. Vic Rocha was my partner, and we get a radio call of a found property in the street. That's what it said, found property. So we roll down there, and there in the street is a coffin, freshly dug up, and laying in a coffin. And these group of citizens are all yelling at us to get it out of there. I said, and I asked, "Did you look inside? Is there anybody in it?" They're like, "You crazy? We're not gonna look in there." So I said, "Okay." So Vic and I reopened it up and checked, and there was no body. However, the impression was in there of a body being there. So we requested a station wagon, which we keep at the station, but for some reason it wasn't available. So Vic and I just picked it up, put it across our tailgate. I have a picture of that.
The coffin.
The coffin. It fit across the back of we lifted the trunk up and laid it across there, and then secured it with our bungees or something, and took a picture. And we drove it out of there, and drove to the station, where we transferred it to the station wagon, which was available. And since the station wagon was used kind of like a command post type thing, it had these little dome lights inside, so we turned them on so they illuminate the coffin, which is kind of cool. You can see the coffin.
It's like a hearse.
Yeah, and so we started driving northbound on Broadway at a slow rate of speed, and I found this station on my little radio that would play music conducive to a funeral.
Nice.
And people were laughing, and they all come out. Nobody sleeps. That's the thing is down there.
Right.
Or they don't sleep. So it was like 2, 3 in the morning. If they're laughing and joking. So I said, well, let me drive it through Newton Station, show my buddies over there. So we drove in through the parking lot, and the guys come out, and they're laughing and I'm sure they were taking their pictures. But we drove out of there and got to Central Station, and into Property Division. And when we got there, the news was there, and they wanted to interview. So I said, okay. So I said, it possibly is gang related. Could be I made up some story. It could have been some initiation or some satanic ritual or something like that they're doing. But it was so funny. It was because then it showed up in the newspaper, in print.
Did they ever find the body or figure out what was going on?
Nope. No, I went and told the property room, the officer, I says, hey, I got some property to book. He says, okay, just bring it in, put it on the counter. I said, no, I need a cart. And he says, what is it? And I said, a coffin. And I go, a coffin? I said, where all the other questions. Right. I said, well, you have to have something. I'm not going to I can't carry it in here. So he had one of those carts. So he brought it in. He says, I don't know where we're going to put that thing.
Right.
But there you go.
Wow.
Weirdest things happen. Yeah.